Opposites Attract podcast. It's Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How is your week?
How is your life?
Going.
I am fired up.
I know. I can hear it.
No.
Look at me multitasking.
I know. I didn't even have to remind you. So before we started, I was tired as shit.
Yeah.
And
we made you some crack in a cup.
I got me some coffee.
Speaking of coffee.
Yes. We got a new announcement that we're going to talk about. We could talk about that first,
Yeah,
right?
we might as well.
So you all know, if you've been watching us, we're either drinking coffee.
Why is this so much more natural?
wine.
Doesn't this already feel more natural than recording a little 1 minute video for that thing?
Yeah, it does.
Maybe,
right before this,
maybe we cut this right out of it.
We recorded a little clip to put on our Buy Me a Coffee website. And it did. It felt a little unnatural just because normally we go with the flow, and this was we were trying to be structured, and you already know we are not structured.
I know exactly what to do. Are you ready?
What?
Go ahead.
God.
Let's go. Record.
So anyways, we got this site going up, Buy Me a Coffee. And like I mentioned, you all know we're either drinking coffee, wine, or beer.
Yep.
And, we were talking about you guys as well. And if we ran into one of our listeners and you're like, hey, aren't you Sonja Ramirez from Opposites Attract podcast? And you were at Starbucks or Dutch Brothers, whatever, or maybe at a bar, dude, we would buy you a coffee or we would buy you a beer. And
it'd be cool to hang out and talk.
Yeah. So it's like, a lot, some people have reached out to me and said, hey, how can we support the show? And I'm like, well, guess what? Now I can say, buy us a coffee or buy us a beer, whatever it is. So now you guys have that opportunity. And not only that, but I know I love my name being shouted out, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Like, say my name. Say my name.
What the hell? Dang it.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to say your name. We're going to give you a shout out on the podcast for buying us a coffee.
Yeah.
So there is.
So if you guys want to buy us a coffee, you guys can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. So just like all of our other social media on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, it's opposite pod. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod, it's really easy. You guys can just buy us a coffee and support the show.
Yes.
And we'll shout you out on here.
Yes. And so today, I was asked to be a speaker at a notary event. Was it a week and a half ago? It was a pretty short notice.
Yeah.
Right?
Something like that.
It was pretty short. And my biggest fear was actually getting in front of the room.
Getting back in front of the room?
No, at the very beginning.
Okay, like
and
speaking in front of people.
Yes, and I had to overcome that fear by throwing myself in those situations.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that more often than not, and I kind of got over that fear, even though I still get butterflies and I get excited and sweaty palms and stuff, but it's more exciting. But when I was asked to do this event, I had no idea how big the event was. Like, I didn't know what to expect. So I was coming in as an owner of a signing agency and talking to the notaries about what we look for in notaries.
Yeah.
And so I walk into this room and I am floored because I'm like, oh my, because I haven't gotten in front of a room since COVID.
And it's been a while.
Yeah. So, I went and I actually took notes. Normally I don't write down anything. I just go with what my inner God is telling me.
Yeah.
But this time around I did write. I wrote down some things, but it's so crazy?
What's that?
I didn't use them.
Really?
Oh yeah. No, I did not.
Okay.
They were there.
Let me ask
you. And I would go back to check to make sure that I was hitting every point that I wanted to hit. But I didn't use my cards, but it made me feel more confident and comfortable because I had the cards in my hand.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did it, even though you didn't use them, did it help writing it out beforehand?
Yes. Well, just knowing that if I was stumbling or I forgot what I was going to say. Yes.
Did you feel more confident with what you were talking about because you wrote it down beforehand and you had it lined up or whatever? Or you thought about what you were going to talk about?
No.
No.
I think just having the cards in my hand,
bullshit.
just in case.
You're just saying that because that's how I would have done it.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Because for me, the cards trip me up. They do, because if I know what I'm going to speak about.
You're like, don't put me in that box.
Yeah, like I know what I'm going to speak about. I come from the heart. Like I come from, and so if I'm reading cards, a lot of times it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe I've just gotten better, even though I haven't been in front of the room.
People are different. For you, that's how you roll.
And I'm telling you, like I owned that audience.
Yeah.
Because when I was in front, like I was walking, I was looking, you know what I'm saying? Like I was.
Like it came back.
Yeah, yes. And I was engaging. I was asking questions, and I seen a lot of smiley faces, and then I heard laughter, and it was just being real in front of the room and talking to them like I was that notary.
Yeah.
I was that nervous, scared, sweaty notary with my first signing, and just kind of letting them know, just because I own a signing agency doesn't mean that, I didn't go through what you guys are going through now.
Yeah.
So just, I think what it was is just, and I think this is with every audience, is just being relatable. Yeah. And it's the same thing we do with parenting now. Yeah. Right. It's getting down to their level to where they can relate to what you're sharing with them and let them know I am not perfect. I made mistakes.
Yeah.
These are the things that I had to learn, and I think that with that, it felt really good. And the time went by so fast because they gave me half an hour.
Yeah.
Which half an hour, I was like, that's a lot of time. But then I'm like, no, that's not a lot of time. But it went by so quick. And afterwards, because with me, I'm talking a lot. So I don't hear myself. When you're nervous in front of that room, it's almost like you don't hear yourself. I know what I'm saying. I know that and what I'm saying is good because of everyone's expressions and feedback. But I don't know exactly if I'm stumbling, if I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, you can't hear yourself back.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I went and sat down, I got tons of just, you're an amazing speaker.
Nice. That's good. That's great. And after it being so long,
and then
awesome.
After the event, I felt like I was back in Legal Shield because I had I had a line of individuals coming up to me, telling me, what I said to help them and breakthroughs, just with what I was saying, the notes that they took down, and how I did very well.
That's awesome.
And so I was like,
so you helped some people out.
Yes.
Helped out some other notaries.
That's what I'm about.
That's cool.
So it's good. And then I met other individuals that owned agencies that we're going to hook up with, so we're going to create this little mastermind and have some training involved for notaries, because there's a lot of notaries that feel they're hitting a brick wall because a lot of agencies aren't taking on new notaries. But it's like, how do they learn, if they're not getting the business? Like, how are they going to get experience? And so that's what I shared today as well, is how to get through.
Well, and I think also not just with notaries, but with everything in life. There's things that are going to happen. It's an obstacle or something, but it doesn't mean that, all right, I guess I'm not doing that, or I'm not going to do this anymore or whatever. It's like, no, there's something's different now. Something's changing. All right. So how do we figure it out?
What you just said.
How do I figure it out?
Change.
Yeah.
Change. Everyone in that room, there were notaries that have not did their first signing because they were so nervous. They were so scared because this is something new. And it's like, you just have to take that leap of faith. Like, you have to jump off the mountain, grow the wings on the way down. Yep. And so many people are not willing to just jump.
That was that was on Netflix, wasn't it? It was one of the nature shows that it showed the birds that jump off the cliffs.
Yes.
And we had heard about that analogy in Legal Shield.
But we saw it.
There's these birds that, like, they're literally just hanging off the face of a cliff.
Yes.
And that's where they're born up there. Yep. And the first time that they leave that nest is when they jump off that cliff and learn how to fly on the way down. And
that's the scariest thing in life, is change.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. I mean, think about it. Going into the unknown.
Even talking to you, like, with the notary stuff, and like we've talked about how the market's changing and how the same type of business that we've been doing may not always be there, how it may shift and we may not make as much money or whatever. But I've also told you, like, I know, like, I don't know this business. It's not my business, the notary business. I mean, I help you with it and I know a little bit from, helping, but I have a pretty good feeling that there's other avenues of being a notary where you can probably make a shit ton of money.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's like when this whole thing is drying up and it's like, oh my God, all my business is going. It's like, well, hey, what else is there out there? What can I do that nobody else is doing?
Right.
Or even maybe it's doing the same shit and specializing in something else. Because I even started thinking recently, what about Spanish? Like straight up specialize in a language or just
interpreter.
Being a sniper for something, where they hire you all the time.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, but it's not like there's an obstacle. I can't do it anymore. Well, that's the end of it.
The truth is you don't want to put your eggs all in one basket.
No. But there's also
that's what I'm saying.
Options,
like, you can be a signing agent. You could be general notary. You can have your RON, remote online notarization.
Yeah.
You can be a wedding officiant. On top of that, you can offer a legal shield. On top of that, you can have a podcast. On top of that, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like you have a rental property. On top of that, you can have your investments. It's like, it's getting out of that rat race. It's getting, it's now starting to build, your passive income. Yeah. So that once your passive income passes your expenses, then hey, now you're on the fast track.
Relax. Sonja's talking about the cash flow game that we were playing last night.
Which is super fun. We got to talk about that. But no, everything, it's just, and this can...
You just got to have that attitude. You got to figure out a way. Just because it didn't work out or something's not happening, I can guarantee you there's always somebody that's figuring some shit out.
Yes.
There's always somebody.
You know what I realized? I mean, I've always known this, but I never really had like a strong why. Like, why do we do what we do? What is going to push us through when we hit those obstacles? And back in the day when people would share their why, oh my God, they would make me cry. And I'm like, oh my God, I want a why like that. You know? Yeah. And it's like, what is my why? Why do I continue doing, what I do? And for me today, it's freedom. It's us being able to do whatever we want to do with whoever we want to do it with, when we want to do it with. And not only that, but I want to change our children's legacy. I want them to have a different beginning, but I want them to have the work ethic. Yeah. I want them to have
the motive,
the drive, the fire, because that will make a difference between someone who's successful, someone versus someone who's not successful, someone who gives up, who says, I tried and I couldn't and I didn't. And now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like getting rid of all the excuses and, asking yourself if there was no such thing as failure, like if you didn't have the fear of failing, or you could do anything that you wanted, if there's anything that you ever wanted to do and you knew without a doubt that you couldn't fail, what would that be?
Yeah.
And why would you do that?
Yep.
Because most people don't, when you ask them, what's your purpose? What is it that you want to do?
Yeah.
They've never given themselves the time to really think about that. Like if money wasn't an issue, if time wasn't an issue, what would you do? Because that's where your passion and your success lies.
Yeah.
Because if you can live doing what you want to do and what you like to do, and it's not always perfect, right? Like the podcast, we love doing the podcast, but there are some things that are not fun, but we do it because we know where we're going, and it's just part of the business.
Yeah.
And once we get to a level in our lives, then we may be able to outsource that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think my motivation lately, I mean, I really don't need much more, but I've been given a lot of motivation, and it's that, and if you guys have listened to the last few podcasts, you probably could figure out what it is. I've been talking about the games that we have to play, and that's my number one motivation. And recently, I mean, I guess we can kind of get into it, but we bought the cash flow game from Robert Kiyosaki. We bought it on Amazon. Might as well get into it if you guys want to pick it up, which we definitely recommend to pick up the cash flow game. Look, it's going to be probably one of the most expensive board games that you'll purchase because I think it was $80.
Mm-hmm. It's an investment.
Listen, go get it. Go get it. Because there's something else after we talk about this that I want to get into. But no, this cash flow game, playing that game it got me excited.
Your wheels start to turn. Let me tell you.
I'm telling you, when you got home from your talk, I got loan. I'm pulling up loans online, and I'm like, we could buy this, we could do this with it. Maybe we could get financing for this, and we still got our cash, and then we get this much in cash flow, but all that shit. It's fucking nuts.
You know what's nuts?
What's that?
Is that we've been told about this game for 14 years.
You know what though? I think it came at a perfect time.
Oh, you're right. Because
right now it's the perfect time for this game, and it's like, all right, these examples of what we're doing in this game may not be exactly perfect, but it shows you that there are some avenues, you know?
Yes.
But anyway, so make sure you guys go pick it up. We got it on Amazon. So if you guys would like to help us out and pick up the game too, you guys can go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. And when you're there, you guys can see all of our social media there. You can listen to the podcast there. You can watch it there. And you can click on the support the show tab. If you're on the phone and you hit the menu button, you'll see it. And that'll take you to our Amazon link. And anything that you purchase through that Amazon link doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. If you're going to do any Christmas shopping, do it through that link and it helps us out. And when you're on Amazon, you can look up Opposites Attract Podcast. You can find our phone cases, pop sockets, t-shirts, that kind of thing. And that also supports the show and helps us out when you guys buy it. And when you're on the support the show tab, you'll also see a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is I got my model for the cell phone cases over here.
We are a nationwide mobile notary and signing agency. So if you're in the process of refinancing, selling, or purchasing your home, you can request Trust Inc. to be your signing agency.
Yep. And if you guys have, or if you guys want to go to Trust Inc. directly and you guys want to message us, you guys can go to trustinkusa.com. If you guys have a hobby or something that you've thought about that you want to turn into a podcast, you've ever thought about broadcasting something or just talking to people about one of your passions, you guys can go to Libsyn, which is who we use to host our podcast. They distribute it to Amazon, Spotify, all the different podcasts. You can use promo code OAP for Opposites Attract Podcast, and you'll get whatever month you sign up in for free, and the next month just for trying out Libsyn, promo code OAP. And we're affiliates with Pinwheel, which is the best smartphone for kids out there. It doesn't have any social media, no browser. They can't get into any bad stuff. All the apps that they have are great for kids. It turns the phone into a tool that they can use to help them be more productive throughout the day.
Yes. And I love the fact that we have total control.
Yes, we can see all the text messages, all the call logs. There's another app that you can install that will help you see some of the things that are a little bit difficult, but it's way better than just giving them a full-out smartphone. And if you guys want 10% off, you guys can go to pinwheel.com and use promo code OAP10, all in caps, OAP10, and you'll get 10% off of a Pinwheel phone.
There you go.
Go buy us a coffee, like we talked about before.
Yes.
buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod.
So, as you were talking about the game.
Yes. So I was talking about the game. And no, definitely that game, it really, that's fired me up. It's fired me up.
Yes. And we were playing with my nephew, Randy, who is 26 years old.
Which was pretty awesome.
Yes. And he was getting it.
Yeah.
He was getting it. And I could tell it was getting him to think outside the box.
In this game, you have different deals. You have deals that are not great deals. You have deals that are great deals. And then you start recognizing what's what and what you're doing. But it was cool because, it's our family that we're playing with.
Right.
And not everybody in our family has the same mentality when it comes to money that we do. And it's cool to be, and you know what, through a game, listen, if you want to change your family, fucking buy the cash flow game and start playing with them.
Right.
It may not be the easiest game to figure out, but it's not that hard.
No.
Once you figure it out, start playing with them and it'll start making the wheels turn.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a whole lot of fun. During the game, you get to pick your ultimate dream. right? You have.
I got the island compound.
And me, I'm going to the moon.
Sonja started a cult. No, I'm just.
I'm going to the moon, damn it. But
the moon cult.
It was just, you get to really just think, what was the one I asked? Oh, if you could take 3 people.
Wow, yeah.
What was it?
If you could go out to dinner with 3 people, who would they be? And I think the dinner, it was like $150,000 on the game.
Yes. And so I was asking Miguel because that was not the dream that he chose, but he landed on it. And even if you land on the dream, you can still purchase it. And at this time, you guys, we're balling. We're making like 500,000. We have apartment complexes.
Exactly.
We have investments up the butt. Like we are balling at this point. Okay. Yeah. And so I asked Miguel.
It's called the fast track.
Yes. And I asked Miguel, I'm like, hey, who would that be? I mean, and he literally had to think about it. He had to think about it. And that's the thing. It gets you to dream again.
And you know what? And then, I don't know, maybe it's because where we're at right now. But like all these things, it's like I can see some of this shit happening. And then when you transition from getting out of the rat race, which is what we're already, like we're on our way out of the rat race already. We could see it.
Yes.
And then getting into the fast track. And then also seeing that it may not take as much as you think it's going to take.
Right.
It takes a few deals and you might be able to get out if you do it right.
Right.
It's exciting.
Listen.
So go ahead.
So while you're playing this game, you have cards, right?
Yeah.
You have the market cards. You have the doodads.
The doodads, that's the bullshit that you spend money on, that we all spend money on.
My nephew lost his ass at the casino.
he lost his ass at the casino.
You lost your ass in a divorce.
Dude,
you lost all your money.
I lost all my fucking cash. My pockets were inside out.
Yep. Me, I was balling, buying $400 worth of gourmet chocolates.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Crazy.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you guys need to check that out. And if you decide to buy it, make sure that you go to our website to support the show.
Yes, thank you. But so there was something that we talked about on the last episode, and we were talking about how like it wasn't always like this when it came to the finances, when it came to the money. Like right now we're in a position where we're starting to hopefully make some moves, or not hopefully, we're going to. We're in the beginning stages of it, trying to figure out what that's going to be, or what those things are going to be that are going to start increasing the cash flow and doing that whole thing. But it wasn't always like that. There was a time when there was debt. Yes. There was a time, and we've talked about all that stuff, and we've talked about last week how when it was hard, we didn't ask for money.
No.
We didn't ask anybody for money. No. We didn't take out any loans. We buckled down and we did what we had to do.
Yeah.
But then
we cut our spending. We cut our spending, and we made the decision. You and I made the decision that we are not going to buy anything that we don't need. We're not going to go out to eat. I mean, we really just got tunnel vision, and we knew where we were going. And by the way, we were debt free 3 times.
You know what? There was a time when I was working at this company, Able Engineering, and they had that Dave Ramsey program that I had signed up for it, but I think I worked night shift, so I couldn't actually go to the classes, but I got the packet, right?
Yes.
And that's when we started learning about Dave Ramsey, and we started doing the debt thing. But I wanted to talk real quick about, because that is something like borrowing money. Like that's something, I don't know why, but like people are super comfortable borrowing money from other people, right? And that's not something that we've ever done. You've talked about on this podcast before. You've always had that feeling when it came to borrowing money for whatever reason that was ingrained into you, maybe from seeing it growing up or whatever. And it was, I know for sure, for a fact, that that's what it was with me. You know, seeing my dad borrow money from my grandmother, and then the friction and all that stuff. And
it really causes a hardship on relationships.
But I think when you're getting out of, when you're trying to change things, you have to do it the right way. And borrowing money is not the right way to do it. The first thing, and I really thought about, like, what was the first thing that really helped us, like, get on that path and get on that track? And the first thing we got from Dave Ramsey. So if you guys want to make a change, if you want to do something different, the first thing that you need to do is cut the spending and start putting that money in an emergency fund. You need to get $1,000. It's not a lot of money, but you need to get $1,000 into an account and do not touch it for any reason. Because at that point, you have $1,000.
Right.
And then you focus all your money, all your effort on all the other debt. But if an emergency happens, if something happens, you don't have to go asking for money. You have $1,000 in that account and you can use it for that. But you also don't want to bullshit yourself and be like, oh, this is coming up. That's $1,000. No, if you can plan it out, try to plan it out so you don't have to touch that emergency fund. Right. And that's one thing that we did, that we put as fast as we could $1,000 in that account, and we never touched it. We never touched it. And
then we worked ourselves up to 6 months of expenses.
We never touched it. And then we started paying off all the debt.
Yes.
We kept that emergency fund, paid off all the debt. To be honest, I don't remember ever touching that money.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to think if we ever actually used the emergency fund for like a water heater or whatever.
No, I don't believe we did. But I think
we left, we just, I mean, we always kind of figured it out. And it's like, look, if we don't have to, like, hey, can we get like another extra $350, $400 for this water heater? And we didn't touch that money.
Right.
But that's step number one. If you can't do that, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, too, it took us 3 different times to get it right, to stick to the plan. Because I remember there were 2 other times where we were debt free and then racked up the credit cards again.
But it wasn't
crazy. We've never had like a lot of debt.
It wasn't like it was the first time, because the first time was a few, like tens of thousands. Like it was probably a couple.
Oh yeah, because we had car loans.
But the second time we racked it up to like 5,000-6,000 and then paid it off. And then we did it again and paid it off. But it wasn't like the first time.
And then we were just sick and tired of being sick and tired, like giving pretty much money when it comes to interest. You know, with those credit cards, we're giving money away.
Yeah.
You know, but it takes a lot of self-discipline. And if you are married, okay, it takes both of you to be on the same page.
Yeah.
That conversation has to be had.
Yep.
And the trust, the honesty, the integrity, all of it combined. I mean, I remember I used to shop for makeup at Dillard's and at Macy's, and I dropped down to L'Oreal. Do you remember that? Yeah. Like, I just, in order to start stacking cash, and stashing cash and paying off debt. Like, we both buckled down.
And you know what? For some people, if you have a regular job, it can be tough, and it can be kind of boring, pretty miserable. If all you're doing is you have your salary and you're just cutting out all your expenses, no more restaurant, no more movies, no more none of that, and I'm focusing all my money towards debt, then, I mean, you can do it and it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can figure out a way to bring in income from somewhere else, from a side business, a side hustle.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that has never really made us getting out of debt like super miserable.
Right.
Because we always had the side business where we took all of the money when we needed to get out of debt. We took all of the money from that and put it towards the debt, and we knocked it out pretty quickly.
Right.
But then that's also kind of like some of the extra money that we have to do some things with and put money aside for investments. But that extra stream of income will make things so much better.
Yes. And if you're married, I've said it before.
That's
the number one cause of divorce is finances.
Well, one thing I was going to say about that was we also have to understand that we've been programmed. Like, our brains have been programmed a certain way for such a long time. So when you're getting out of this thing, you're going to make mistakes. You guys will and you guys have to be on the same page, like you were saying. But you also got to help each other out. Like, keep each other accountable.
Yes.
Like, if your wife makes a mistake or your husband makes a mistake, like, understand. Like, we've been doing this shit forever. Like, we got to break these habits. Yes. So, like, hey, say something, but don't give them a hard time about it. And let's fucking move forward now.
Yes. Be kind to yourself. I was telling today when I was speaking, it's like, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Right?
I know for a fact that back in those times, there were maybe a couple times where you went and bought something, or I thought we were trying to do this. Yeah, well, I thought you said we weren't going to spend it. Yeah, well, what about you spending this? It's like, all right, well, we won't spend anymore. And it's like, all right, but you know what? At the end of the day, it was like, all right, like I understand. We're trying to accomplish something. Mm-hmm. So let's go.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So marriage tip, get your finances together.
Yeah.
Work together.
And get that
talk
cash
to
flow
each other. Make sure your communication is on point.
I think that's
make a decision.
Step number 1.
Take action.
Step number 1. You have to. That has to be your number 1 focus. If you are serious about getting out of debt, get that emergency fund. Because if you can't even put $1,000, because think about it, you'll spend $1,000 in a weekend on some dumb shit sometimes, right? Like if you have a fucking great weekend and that shit is gone.
Yep.
So if you can't put $1,000 in an account, I don't know how you're going to get out of debt.
Yes.
That's step number 1.
There is, just so everyone knows, we have a list of resources.
Yeah.
Books, audibles,
YouTube videos that have helped us out.
That have helped us become debt-free. Some of them have helped us in our marriage. Some of them have helped us in our parenting. It's all about getting better together, right? That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah, this is where
we get better together. And so I highly suggest for you all to go to our website, www.oppositesattractpod.com.
And the pop-up.
Give it a few seconds. A pop-up window will come up. Put in your information. Download the free resource list that we provided for free to you guys.
Yeah.
And start reading, like get to work, like educate yourself. Not only that, but listen with me when whatever it is, whether it's losing weight, getting healthy, I listen to certain podcasts that keep me motivated. Right? Yeah. David Bach. I listen to David Bach when it comes to finances. We were listening to Dave Ramsey and then we upgraded to David Bach, but there's so much information out there. Afford Anything is another podcast that I listen to. So when you are making changes and making moves, make sure that you have someone who can hold you accountable, which is your significant other. And if you don't have a significant other, hook up with someone,
maybe a friend
who is going the same direction.
Maybe somebody in the community.
Going. Yes.
What I mean, if you guys are part of the community, part of the Facebook group, yeah.
Oh, yes. And speaking of our Facebook page, our group, we are now our whole goal is to share with you guys our mistakes and our wins. And we would love to hear from you guys, because I know that a lot of you are also winning.
Yeah.
And we can learn from each other.
And we like to hear about you guys winning too.
Yes. And I would love for you guys to go into the Facebook page. And when you start to pay off your debt, let us know, let the community know. I think that will help motivate everyone.
Yeah.
Tag
us in it.
Whether it's marriaging, parenting. I mean, we just started a parenting mastermind.
Dude,
we're having our first Zoom.
I don't know what it is. Like there was somebody that posted something. I don't even know who they were, but it was like that they paid off. I don't know how much. Like I get excited. Like I don't even know these people, and I'm like, fuck yeah! Like they're doing it.
Yes.
Shit. I mean, if you guys post it in the group page and tag us in it.
Yes.
I mean, we love to hear that kind of stuff.
So as I had mentioned, we started our first series of. It's Opposites Attract Podcast Parenting Mastermind. And Miguel and I have invested a lot of time and energy into just becoming better parents. And we want to share with you all what we have learned. And so we are having a Zoom call, and it's going to be November 18th at 6:30 p.m. If you want to know more about it, join our Facebook group page.
Yeah. And not just that we want to share with you guys everything that we've learned, because we do try. We've read a few books.
We're figuring it out. We're not experts yet. No.
And for some of you guys, we're past the point where your kids are at, and some of you guys in our group have kids that are way beyond the point where our kids are at right now.
Right.
So when we get together in that group, one thing that we had talked about, Sonja and I, was that we've noticed that when we sit down, like if we're having a parenting issue, and I have a problem with Joey or I have a problem with Audrey, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sitting there thinking about it by myself, that's all the brain power, processing power that I can put towards this issue.
Right.
But like we learned about in the company that we were in Legal Shield, that when you have more than one person working on something together, somehow that's more powerful than just two people working on it by themselves.
For sure.
So when Sonia and I sit down and we start talking about the issues that we have, a lot of times there's things that I don't think about that Sonia will mention to me, or things that Sonia's not thinking that I'll mention to her, and we can figure out things way better.
Right.
But if we have a group of people that have experience in different areas, that are past certain points or that are coming up to certain things, we can help each other so much better that way.
Yes.
Because together we can all, figure this thing out.
Yes. And that's why I'm really, really excited about that, because listen, seriously, to be open enough, vulnerable enough to share your challenges. Because a lot of time parents, we look, we don't speak about it because there's shame within or embarrassment within because of the situation that's happening. And I think that if we open up and we start communicating and we build this community where it's safe, respectful, where we all come from, a loving place, and we're able to talk amongst ourselves and just lay things out, we'll be able to help each other get through it, overcome it, and become, conscious parents.
Yeah. So make sure you guys go to the Facebook group and look for that event. It's the Opposites Attract podcast parenting mastermind.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
And it's in the Facebook group page. So you have to, in order to get that information, you have to go there and become a member. So yes.
So there was this week, first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to the 5 Love Languages group. Which, we had posted in earlier this week. You guys listening to the podcast know that that's for marriage. That's probably, I can't really think of another book that we recommend more than that one. I'm sure there's other great ones, but that's one that really helped us out. And we joined that group, and it's been cool. We've had some great interactions with some of the people in the group, and we've posted over the last couple of years or however long we've been in there.
Yep.
But recently, what was it? Tuesday or something like that, this last week, I went to work it was Monday. So I came back from a work trip, and while I was gone, it had rained a little bit. You know how it does here in Arizona.
Yes. Just enough to dirty your car.
Just enough to destroy the car. Like it was just a little bit of rain and a little bit of dust, and it just covers the car and makes it look like trash.
Right.
So last weekend, like you guys heard, we had freaking Eddie Lacy on Thursday that we were partying with at the Packers game. The party continued Friday and Saturday. Saturday we had the Halloween party. Sunday was Halloween. So I just never got the chance to get my car washed. My car was destroyed, and every time that we would get in the car that weekend, I was like, man, I need to get the car washed. No time to do it because we got to keep partying, keep going hard. And then I'm like, damn, we got to get this car washed. No time. So then Monday comes around. I have to go to work, and I didn't get a chance to get it washed. So I jumped in the car. I go to work, and when I leave work, I noticed that you had came and picked up my car and got it washed for me.
I carjacked you.
You carjacked me. You grabbed one of the spare keys and you came to my work and you picked up my car and got it washed.
My nephew and I thought about it. I'm like, oh, we didn't get a chance to get your car washed, and I am open this afternoon. So I asked Randy, I'm like, hey, you want to go with me to steal your Theo's truck? And he's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, that was really cool.
So he was like, yeah. So we went and got your car washed for you. And Miguel's love language is acts of service.
Yeah. So that was something that I was like super surprised by. And it was awesome. Like I felt great when you did that. And that was something that I wanted to bring up. I mean, if you guys have been, if you guys haven't listened or are new to the podcast, maybe we haven't talked about the 5 love languages in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But pretty much what the 5 love languages is the way people like to be loved. Yes. And a lot of times the way people like to be loved is the way they love others. So for me, that's acts of service. And in the beginning of our relationship, that's the way I would show Sonia that I loved her.
So let me share this. Okay. So all my friends and family, they would ask, hey, what are you guys doing today? Or, just asking questions about us. And I would always tell them, I'm like, he's amazing, man. He'll help with dinner. Because I'm an entrepreneur. And at that time I was running Legal Shield hard.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't there, you would pick up, like you would, when it comes to school, you would help the kids with their homework. You would throw a load of laundry in. There's times where you were cooking dinner. Like, you were just absolutely amazing. And they looked at me like, what? Like, he does what? They're like, my man won't even pick up a sock. What are you talking about? So I knew I had something different. I had no idea about the love languages whatsoever. But there was still me I was missing.
Yeah.
That affection, because I am physical touch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's amazing when it comes to that stuff, but I am starving. Now, I wouldn't tell them that, but I knew within
it was just different. Yeah.
That I didn't feel loved. Even though you were doing all these things for me, I still felt unloved. Yeah. And at times I would question myself. Is it me? Yeah. And it started to build a little bit of an insecurity and lack of confidence within, because I'm like, I know I'm not bad looking. Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? But that's how females, that's what they start to think. Is he getting it somewhere else? Is he cheating? Is he seeing someone? These are the thoughts I'm letting, and this is a lot of females. Those are just the thoughts that we create. Those are the lies that we create. And you don't know what you don't know. And once it came to our attention about this 5 love languages and this and this and that, we started looking into it, and holy shit, it made so much sense.
Yep.
Because I was always all up on you. I was on you like flies on shit.
And I was always doing some shit.
Yeah. And so once we recognized what it was, then we started working together.
Yeah.
And I started getting up in the morning, making you coffee, doing the little things. And, it's not having to work your butt off every day, all day to fulfill
and that's
that
the
love
thing.
language.
It's not like a car wash is that. And it's not like you do it all the time. It's every once in a while. And when it happens, it's awesome. That's another thing that I was going to mention is doing things without, like, you also can't have expectations. I don't know if they talk about that in the book. They probably do. It's been a while. We got to listen to it again. But I think a lot of times it's the expectations that we have of the other. Like, if you wash my car, and it sucks if I don't say anything, right? It does. But
I'm excited about it.
You are excited. And that would be kind of a dick move for me. But it's because I mentioned to you, right? that I feel, but mine is a lot more subtle than yours, right? You got my car washed when it looked like shit. Right. I should say something.
Well, not only that. Okay, listen, because I also like recognition. So I left the seat way up so that you would have to scoot.
Yeah, so I saw it. Yeah. I know. But what I'm saying is, like, I've filled up your car before, and there's times when you notice it and you're like, oh, thank you. But then there's also times when you're running out of the house and maybe you're going to an appointment and you don't notice that I filled up the car. But you know what? I don't care, really. I actually don't, because I fill up the car and I don't hear anything back, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Mm-hmm. And maybe sometimes I'll say something like, hey, I filled up the car for you. And you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But you didn't notice it unless I said something. And it's like, I don't care. It's the expectation that I think sometimes, like, if I fill it up, if you don't say something, you know what? That's it. I'm not fucking doing that anymore. You know what I mean? That's a bad attitude. Just do it just because.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the attitude that you need to take. And when you don't have that attitude, that's when sometimes you get your feelings hurt. But it's all about the way we perceive it, the way we take it in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It's having to do that inner work.
Yeah.
That inner work.
So we were talking about the different love languages. So you mentioned acts of service. There's quality touch. right?
Physical touch.
Or physical touch.
touch.
I mix two of them up.
Time.
I do a physical touch and quality time.
I could
together.
do both of those.
We could do both of them together.
Because you do.
I'm
getting time when you're being physical with me. So
words of affirmation.
Yes.
And did I mention gifts? I think I said gifts, right?
Yes.
So those are the different ways that people, express love. And just because you express love in a certain way, like I said, mine's is acts of service. And I used to do that for Sonja all the time. And then that's where we were having trouble because like I'm doing stuff showing Sonja that I love her and she's not getting it.
I'm trying to take him in the bedroom.
She's not getting it. And then Sonja's doing the same thing to me and I'm not getting it. And then at a certain, we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, doesn't she love me or don't I love, doesn't he love me?
You start to question.
So you just got to figure out. And one thing that we also talked about was when you put your partner, like the love languages were awesome for us.
They are. Yes.
It was awesome to, I guess it's almost kind of like the money thing. It's almost kind of like the money thing. It's the emergency fund, the putting the $1,000 in, the getting out of debt part, like the beginning stages. It's the same thing. Like the 5 love languages is the beginning stages.
Yes.
It's what makes you aware that your partner needs to be loved in a different way. Yes. But once you've been doing it for a certain period of time, and once you guys have been talking about it and you've been, you've been growing together and all this other stuff, and you start, like we've talked about on here, putting your partner first.
Yes.
And like I've said, like I treat it just like a team. Like I mean, team doesn't to me, like team doesn't sound like a strong word, but for me it is. Like for me, when like if you're part of my team, if you're one of my you're my people.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm your human.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way I see it. Like I put my team first no matter what. And this is my number one team. My family is my number one team. And when you put it like that, the 5 love languages after a certain point, like I don't even think about it. It's like you start practicing all of them.
Right. No,
it is the acts of service. It's let me get that for you.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I thought about you when I was at the store and I brought you something. Oh, you look great today. Oh, it's everything all the time.
Yes. And when you know what's so beautiful is that when you cross that point to where your communication's on point, like you guys are one.
Yeah.
Like you guys are one. You understand each other. You're on the same level. Everything tends to just fall together.
Yeah.
Come together. My love language is not acts of service, but my car needed gas the other day and you went and put gas in my car.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's times where we're having to work late or you're doing something for the podcast. So I'll take out the trash.
Yeah.
Or take the kids to their, to their sports, whatever they're doing. It's like you just make it work.
Or you go out somewhere and you're like, hey, I brought you something back. Or you'll say something to me.
Right.
Like what physical touch, right? You said yours is physical touch. But I went and put gas the other day, right? That's acts of service. Today you went and did your thing. And what did I tell you afterwards? That you kick ass. Yeah. You kick ass. Like all that. That's words of affirmation. And you do the same thing for me. But that's the thing is like, it's not really thinking about it after a while.
It just happens. You just do it. It becomes part of you. It becomes part of the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the growth it's just your love for each other. It goes to a different level. No, I made you cry. But it really does. And what's so great about all these love languages and everything that we're talking about is that you could actually utilize these love languages for your children.
Yeah.
Like there's a book, The 5 Love Languages for Teens.
Yeah, you could do the love languages quiz. You could take, there's if you go to the 5lovelanguages.com, we need to do business with these people. Holy shit.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
Hey, we're
going to have to hashtag this podcast.
We were just listening to a podcast about how to make some money. We need to freaking do some business with these people. As much as we push this book, or at least a freaking interview or some shit. Right? You know what I mean?
No, we need to work on that. We're throwing that out in the universe. No, we're throwing that out in the universe. We're going to have.
But we got to tone it down a little bit.
Gary.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I know, but hey, you know what? I might curse a little bit, but you can't be talking about some of that shit if we get them on the show.
Oh no. But it is. It's just, it's work, man. It's work. All of, relationship, marriage, parenting, finances, all of it is work. It's knowing what you want, doing the research, getting yourself disciplined to do the thing and taking action and not looking back. And even when you do look back or take a step backwards, be kind to yourself, get back on track, and continue to push forward. And with that, it is going to roll into your parenting, because you are leading by example, and your children are watching every step you make.
Yep.
It's all
intertwined. It's all intertwined.
It's all intertwined. Exactly.
Yep.
And so either you can go this way to the left or to the right, but either way, you got to make a move, and whichever way is right for you, continue to flow. No.
What are you talking about? Freaking tentacle fingers? What the hell? But yeah, so if you guys are listening from the 5 Love Languages group, welcome. Thank you guys for listening, and
thank you for all your comments. And for responding to our post and all that good stuff, and giving us your real thoughts. Don't sugarcoat it. Just
there was somebody
tell
that
us
I think
it is,
because they don't. I mean, we don't post all the time, so they don't know our personalities.
Right.
But I try to make the post a little bit funny, because I wanted to post something on there just like to hopefully help somebody else out. Like if you think about it's simple.
Read
saying,
it.
It's simple because like all you have to do is just pay attention, like you said. That I just mentioned, like, hey, I wanted to I need to get my car washed.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I'm not gonna do that right now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's something simple that could help people out. You just got to pay attention to what's happening around you, and then and it's something, what, $15? I don't know how much. It couldn't have been more than $20 to get the freaking car washed, but it's something that makes your spouse feel good, if that's their thing.
Aww, where's that button?
Dang it.
Are you late?
I'm late. You know what I was thinking? That you could probably practice all the acts of service, like when you're gonna get busy. Yeah, you could do all of them all at once.
Yes.
You could start it out with words of affirmation. Be like, dang, girl, you be looking, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure.
And then the physical touch starts. Yes. The acts of service start. Yep. Yeah, baby.
Forget about it.
And then at the end, I'm going to give you a gift.
This is
there goes all of our listeners from the 5 Love
only
and everywhere else.
Podcast.
They're like, oh, shit, this isn't the show I thought it was. I'm out of here.
Adult only podcast.
I got you a gift.
A gift.
Oh my
You're
God.
bad. So this week I went. Was there something you're
saying? Before we get out of this, another thing that you did recently for me.
Don't tell them.
What?
Oh, okay. No.
What'd you think of? What'd you think I was gonna talk about?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, dang it.
I do that pretty good.
That was good. That was good.
You're a little slow, so I'll make sure I'll do the
I couldn't
sound
do it
effects
enough.
over here.
No, but one of the other things that you did for me was so over the past couple of years, I had gone to school and took some classes, and I got a couple certificates from Arizona State, and I just kind of had them on the side somewhere on the floor. They were getting all dusty, and when I came back from my work trip, you had hung up my certificates. You hung up a Packers, framed photo and card, like a nice thing that I have for the Packers, and then my 2 certificates, and it looks awesome. And I love it. It looks great. And you also got some help from our friend Patrick.
Yeah,
big shout out to Patrick.
Yes,
you're awesome, man. Thank you so much. But
yes.
yeah, it looks great.
You're welcome.
And I'll put up a post. Yeah, I appreciate it, babe.
You're welcome.
See, words of affirmation.
Right. And then you'll fill me up later.
And I'll fill her up later. Like I said in the post.
Our tank, you guys. I mean, yeah.
Fill up our love tank. I'm gonna fill up your love tank.
Anyway, so I went shopping.
Yeah.
There's something about shopping. I don't really care to shop. I am on a mission. When I go grocery shopping, I am on a mission. Like I know what I need and I'm going for it. And so I took Randy with me to go shopping, and we were at Costco, and it was so cute because, you know, we're walking out and it's Randy and I together. And then there's this older gentleman who's like sitting to the left of us, and, well, not sitting, but he's walking, and I guess, you know, it was with his daughter, but I'm over here trying to get to the other side to get to the car, and I see like he keeps blocking me, like he keeps going from side to side, and I'm like thinking, is he okay? Like, is everything okay? And all of a sudden he looked behind his shoulder and he started laughing, and I found out it was his daughter. Was like, Dad, what are you doing? Leave her alone.
Kind of deal. Old dude messing with
but
you?
He had such a great personality. You know, he's like, well, hey, he's like, I'm personality. Like, he's like, I made her laugh. Like, that's what he was trying to do, was just, and I'm like, I told Randy, you see that? That's how I'm going to be when I'm old, you know?
Yep.
Messing with people.
That's cool.
Getting people to laugh.
You have like this magnetism for old people.
I love them.
You got this magnetism for old people. Like they're so attracted to you.
I'm attracted to them. I think that's what it is. You're attracted to them. Like I attract them because there's so much within them. Yeah. There's so much knowledge. There's so much life and so much wisdom and so much that we can learn from them. And I am definitely interested in hearing their stories.
It is interesting. It is.
And so somehow I always end up sitting down and getting their story, and they just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
There was also, you were leaving fries, and this lady had lost her car, this older lady.
Oh, yeah.
And you were trying to help her find it, and then I ended up getting out and helping her find it. But then she just started like talking to us.
She started sharing with us.
Yeah, like some of the things that she had been through. But it wasn't like a lady that we knew, and she was just kind of talking. And I like, what were you? Because she got into some stuff.
She did.
Like, what were you thinking when like her just talking to a stranger like that?
I'm used to that.
They do that to you all the time.
I'm used to strangers opening up to me and sharing pretty vulnerable events that have happened.
I mean, this was an older lady. She was sharing with us about like brain surgery that she had.
You got to experience what I experienced. Yeah. You were there.
It was cool. You know, like I was kind of thinking in that moment, you know, like she's an older lady, but I was just kind of thinking about like time. Like really, that's all I thought about was like time. I was like, this lady doesn't have a lot of it, and she's choosing to spend some of it with me.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm gonna listen. Yes. You know, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy a conversation with this lady.
Yes.
And it was cool.
And it was cute. Like you helped her put her groceries away, and she was so thankful. You know, and she felt bad at the beginning when I was putting the cart away, and you know, she's like, I don't remember where my car is. Can you be a doll and help me find it? And I'm like, sure.
That's
how
you know she was old.
Driving? Yeah,
can you be a doll?
And I'm like, sure. What are you driving? And she told me, and I suck at cars. She said a Hyundai something. I'm like, what color is it? Black. Okay.
She's like, let me get my husband. He knows cars.
And I'm like, let me go get my husband, because and I know, like, you know, you love to help, and so that's when I went and I grabbed you, and I had no idea that she was gonna express the surgery that she went through, but she was feeling bad, and she's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I just, you know, since I've gotten older, she's like, my memory is not the same anymore, and I could tell like she was embarrassed. And I told her, I'm like, listen, I'm like, I am 44 years old, and there's times where I cannot find my car, so you're fine. There's times where I'm asking my daughter, where do we park, or asking you, where do we park, like it happens. I told her, because I could tell that she was feeling a bit embarrassed. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was cool. It was a cool moment that we shared.
Yes. Yes.
So, there was something else that I wanted to talk about. So, like, there's so much that happens out there in the world, right? There's so much news and so much, especially today, like so much shit that's always going on, like different things that you have to be on top of and know that this is happening and that's happening in this other industry and just all the crazy crap that happens in the world. There's a lot to keep up with, right?
Yes.
And I think sometimes like people get consumed by what's happening. You know, like it's good to be informed. Like you have to know what's happening in the world. I mean, you can't just be oblivious like, oh my God, there's a virus out there somewhere. Like that's, wow, I didn't hear about it. Like, no, you have to be somewhat informed. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's a difference between being informed and just being drowned, overwhelmed, like drowned by this information. It's just, I don't understand. Like with everything that's happening with the virus, with the mandates, with the politics, with all these different things, like, yeah, like I'm going through it right now. I'm in the middle of a situation that we have to deal with. A lot of us are. Mm-hmm. But all I care about is what's happening. I want to know a little bit of news about this and that, like things that may be changing. Mm-hmm. But I cannot sit around and be listening to everybody's opinions about all these different things. And like at a certain point, if I can't do anything about it, like, look, I talked about a couple episodes ago that I don't want to get this shot. And there's certain things that we have to do in order for me to maybe not get it or fill out paperwork or whatever the situation is. But at a certain point, I can't keep going back and forth. You do what you can do and you can't do anything else. So now we got to refocus and do something else. I can't sit around and just listen to news and more news about this and about that. Yeah. And just like,
I think this is what it is. Okay, listen. And I think you just, you're a man, so you don't get in touch with your inner feelings. But
all I'm saying is that at a certain point, you can't do anything about it.
Right. And not only that, but in your situation, it's causing you anxiety. It's causing you to feel uncomfortable. There's things that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so not knowing what's in it, so you got, it's not just about I'm not taking the shot kind of deal. It's why you don't feel comfortable taking the shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But regardless, yes, everything out there, you're having to process all this negativity and it's not healthy. Mentally, it's not healthy.
Yeah. I mean, you got to,
for you, it's not healthy for you.
I imagine there's people that have alerts or whatever that it's just nonstop. Oh, COVID news or this and that. And it's like, look, trust me, somebody's going to tell you.
Right.
So you know what? I can guarantee you that.
Yes.
Somebody will tell you if something happens.
I'm going to write a prescription for all our listeners.
For what? What are you going to give them?
Listen, Linda.
She's going to give you guys love.
Turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. Shut down social media for a bit. If you've noticed that a lot of your posts or people that you follow are negative, it's time to turn off social media. You need to get your mental state right and start filling it with good books, poetry, whatever it is that's going to make you feel joy.
I can guarantee you if you stop checking the news, you will still find out what the news is. I can guarantee you. If you stop checking the news, you'll still hear about it.
Because I don't watch it.
And you still find out about everything from somewhere, somehow.
Yes. So, but to have to take all of that in, I can't personally because I start to get depressed. I get stressed out. I start to, get anxiety and I can't do it. And I know mentally, I know my body, I know that it is not a good thing for me at all. And I know that if I'm feeling this way, there's a lot of people feeling the same way, but you're just unaware because you're in it. You know what I'm saying? But if you were to turn it off, even for a week, oh my God, even 3 days, just turn it off. Disconnect from the world and go outside and hug a tree. Take a walk.
A big part of that.
Picnic with your kids.
A big part of that is that numbing that we were talking about last week.
Because I don't think anybody wants to numb the news.
No, it is. It is. Because at a certain point, like we talk about, we look stuff up, but at a certain point, there's only so much that you can do.
Right.
And then you got to refocus and do something else. But if you're using the news and social media and all that kind of stuff to numb yourself, then you're just constantly inundated in this stuff. you got to redirect your focus onto something better.
Right.
Something better, something for you, not for them.
Yes. Yes.
They already screwed you over enough. Refocus that energy on something else.
Yes. 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 Good
and that's
stuff.
how we get out of this crap.
Yeah.
Right?
Disconnect to reconnect.
Yep. So make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com and you guys can share it with the people that you know. Thank you guys for supporting us. Like we mentioned before, if you guys want to buy us a coffee, you guys can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and you guys can do it there.
Yes. Thank you for your love. Thank you for sharing our podcast. And most of all, thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.